In the workshop today, we are working on this CVRT Sultan, and this has not ran since the early 2000s. And I have took the lid off. This is running the Cummins 6BT with an inline pump. Good engines, very good engines, but this has been parked up for a number of years. I've changed the fuel filters on it. They were terrible. We've put some new batteries in it, and we cranked it over, and initially it started straight up, which was not that unexpected from one of these. But what it did do, well, it nearly fell off, it ran, and then the moment I touched the throttle, it sort of ran away. It ran right up a bit uncontrollably. I did actually manage to pull the stop, and it did stop it eventually, but it wasn't very quick. Since stopping it, it doesn't want to run. So I'm thinking it was bad fuel that's in the pump, and I think the rack in the pump has seized. Quite a common thing on mechanical injection pumps, especially with old fuel. It goes bad, it turns into like a gel, and it doesn't seize, it just like glues it almost. So access to the pump is pretty poor. I mean, I haven't done a whole lot on these pumps, but I've just had a little cunning plan, and the back of the pump, which is not the most fun to get at, has a plate on it, and if I can get those anti-tamper bolts off, the rack, the actual rod that the governor's pushing on, I think is behind there, and with any luck it's probably not actually that seized, so I might just be able to just work it forward and back gently, and once it's moved a bit, it should, fingers crossed, should be free. So I won't film taking that off because I'm on my own, I've got no hands. I've got my anti-tamper socket there, so I'll take that cover off and I'll show you what lurks inside. We've now got the inspection cover off, and that was a major load of no fun at all, because of course that screw went to cheese and rounded, so I had to resort to the good old-fashioned hammer and chisel. I don't know why they bother with anti-tamper, because it can be done with Stone Age tool equipment to get round, so just don't bother. Just normal nuts and bolts, please. You're just wasting time. I'm going to get a boroscope now, and we shall stick the camera in there and have a little look. Right, now you can see that thing with the yellow mark on. That is the rack, which is all the way back at the minute in the stop position. Below it's the governor spring. So I've got to free that up if I can. I'll work it forward and back. I'll just have a little feel of it now. Yeah, I can feel it went back, but it stayed back. And you can pull it forward. It's just a bit sticky. So a little update, it's still sticking, I can't quite get it. So I'm gonna take the injector lines off, already done one half. I'm gonna take the delivery valves out, and then hopefully I shall be able to see which plunger is sticking, get some WD directly into there, crank the engine, knock it down, crank the engine until it goes off the cam, and work it up and down till it's free. One of them will be stuck, or two, and that's the other way of freeing the rack off without taking the full pump down and full strip down, which is not easy on one of these, because just taking that air cleaner off looks like an absolute nightmare. So I've got the injector lines off now, and a quick little test is worth doing to see if we've got any stuck delivery valves. So I'm going to turn the ignition on, and that will start the electric fuel pump. And if any fuel free flows from any one of those, it means the delivery valve is sticking, which also will lower rack pressure and stop it from starting. Could give it the same issue, so it's never worth being too sure of everything until you know for definite. So nothing looks awful. No, can't see anything. We'll give it a quick crank with the with them off, and we'll see what comes out, if anything. I'm not expecting it to. No, not really. Right, we've got to go further in. Oh, quick little update. Things aren't going well. We've now took all the air cleaner out, which was a bit of a pig. We've now took the boost diaphragm housing off the top of the pump. This is the fuel plate. This is what you can adjust to change the fueling. It's not what I'm trying to do here. I'm not trying to do a TDI remap, but if you were to take that plate out and cut it, or just not put it back in, the engine would be quite considerably more powerful, although black smoke a lot. I'm hoping I can get the top of the rack to get some lube on it and work it forward and back a bit easier, because we're just a bit stuck for space. This is not fun at all. Right, with just a very tiny amount of WD-40, which makes me laugh, everyone laughs at me for using that, it is already working fine. So you can see that push to stop, and when you release, it's automatically coming back to the start position. And of course, when you stop one of these engines and you let you stop back, it lets the rack go back, so next time you crank it, there's some fuel on, a bit like pressing the throttle really. And that is all working a lot better. So I'm going to put the fuel feed back on to there and then crank it over and see, God, if this would focus, that'd be brilliant. See if it works. Are we ready? See there, that is injecting and working. So I'm going to put the batteries on charge, build that back up, fingers crossed she'll start straight up. Right, so we've got all the injector pipes bolted back on, everything's fixed down, and we're going to attempt to start. Now I've got the CO2 there because I don't care how clever you are or how clever you think you are with injection pumps, if they do stick on full chat, that's the safest way to stop it and the quickest. So let's see what happens now when we start her up. I've got a feeling I'm going to get wet. Well, I'm getting soaked, but that's a good result. Started up quite nicely. Getting absolutely sodding soaked there. The charge light's gone out, so it is charging the old batteries, or it should be. Let's give it a few revs. There it is, she is running for the first time since 2000, I think, so best part of 20 odd years. I'm just going to let it run and warm up in its own time. I'm going to have to be quick because I don't want to gas myself in the shed. The next time I'm going to do the roller shutter up, I'll do the roller shutter up and then we'll take it for a drive, see if it works. But run it up, get the oil up to temperature. I'm going to change the engine in. I'm going to change the oil in the engine and the gearbox while it's in here, and the last fuel filter, and then we can put the decks back on. Next job, drain the oil. And when we say oil, that looks very grey, which would indicate water. And that is not good. Engine should not have that much water in. But the whole reason I think this injector pump was seized up is because these vehicles have bungs here and down the sides. They were all in originally, and what I think's happened is rainwater has gone into the vehicle and it's acted like a boat but in the opposite way, and the water levels come right up, which you can see, probably, and soaked its way into the injector pump and then into the engine, which is likely what's caused all this bother. So it's a good job we're giving her a bit of a service, because it's going to jolly well need it. So that's the engine, and then this bung here is the gearbox. We'll drop them both now, put some fresh oil in, new filters, and she'll have a lease of life hopefully after that. Yeah, that is not ideal. Neither was needing a pair of Stilsons to even remove it. The one next to it was the fuel filter. That looks equally mint. So yeah, we've got one fuel filter down there, then you've got another one under the driver's seat, which I'll show you in a minute, and the engine oil one was under the turbo. And of course the oils and the filters are in the back, and I might get in. I wonder how bad the gearbox is going to be. I don't like the fact there's water coming out already. Great. Gearbox oil is all drained and got rid of. I've started filling it back up through there. The dipstick for it is there. I've also filled the engine oil back up and put a new filter on and put the bulkhead back in and changed that secondary fuel filter right there. Real great place to put it. So now, well, that's all built up nicely. What I need to do is just put the last couple of litres in the gearbox, and then I shall teach you all how to drive it. If you've stayed this far, it'll make it worth your while. We don't know if it's going to work. It should work. They're pretty reliable. It's like a mini Chieftain tank gearbox in the way these work, other than it's all mechanically operated, not electronic. So you could argue it's slightly more reliable. So, yes, in a minute, we'll hopefully be driving it. Where we poo? Oh, yeah. Well, fingers crossed now. It's going to start and drive out the shed. And then I'll show you how to drive it if it works. Oh, we're indicating. Why are we indicating? But it drove itself out of the shed. Steering seems to be a little bit vague. Got a bit of a rattle from the gearbox. But that's the first time it's drove in many, many years. I'm just going to top the water, it's just a little bit low. And then we shall someone take it for a little spin and see if we can get it to go for all the gears. That's full. Ow. Well, we topped it up with water. It's been running for about 4 minutes now. I can't run it for long without the deck on, as it relies on that to actually cool properly. It won't be going through the radiator in the right place. So I'm going to take it for a quick spin now, see if I can get any steering to work. Obviously it's all brake discs on this. And oh, we've got a pond up here. That's great. That's going to go all down my neck, so I better deal with that. It's all brake discs, and they will be fairly seized. So, getting all that to come back to life will be interesting. But I'll try and mount the camera on the top here, so you can sort of see what's going on. Well, all that water, I thought there was a hole in that box. Well, I thought that box was not. I thought that box didn't have a hole in it. Turns out, it does. And that's leaking right where I need to be, and it's filled that stupid thing up that's right above my head with water. So I think I'm going to address that before I even get covered in it, because I'm not in the mood for that. Now with it washed, it's time to address the small matter of the steering issue. Yeah, them brake pads are absolutely finished. They're the same. It's a 1965 Jaguar E-Type, apparently. So that's the new one. And they're the old ones. Mint. There we go, that is looking considerably better. Right, so we got the brake pads all changed. And like I promised, I'm going to tell you how to start and drive this thing. So, in front, you've got, down below, you've got your accelerator, your brake pedal, and your gear change pedal, which is a bloody awkward thing to use on this. So, with this, if you want to go up the gears, you heel down like that. And to go down the gears, you toe down like that. This is your handbrake. This is a ratchet handbrake. You keep pulling it back until it clicks, then bang all the way forward and it'll go off. This is your forward and back shuttle. You push forward like that to go backwards and pull backwards like that to go forwards. Yeah, work that out. You always push down, toe down to make sure you're in no gear before you start it. Then you turn your isolator on, which is there. And this is like your ignition key. They don't actually have an ignition key as such. And then you've got your heat and start. Now, a little thing for you here, they don't have heater plugs or a wax heater in the inlet manifold. So why it says heat, I don't know, because it certainly doesn't have one. So when you're in neutral, charging, and to stop it, you've got a pull stop there to your right hand side near your shoulder. Now it's a lot easier to drive when you've got no lid on, as it were. Now let's try the steering. These will steer out of gear, so remember we are in neutral. If I pull this lever and rev it, it should turn left. Getting better as the pads are bedding in. Bearing in mind, that's out of gear. It seems really weird. What I'm going to do now, we're going to put the deck back on and then we'll take it for a proper drive. But let's just say you wanted to go forward now. You'd pull back on that and then heel down like that and then a little bit of rev and away we go. Then toe down to be out of gear, reverse, shove that forward, and heel down, and backwards we go. Always make sure you end out of gear. To stop the noisy old thing, just pull the stop, always make sure you put it back in, and then make sure you isolate it. It's as easy as that. I think you've got 6 gears down, and you know these do, I don't know what they do, 40 mile an hour, something like that. They're pretty quick. I think the petrol, they do one with a Jaguar E-Type petrol engine. I think they're supposedly quicker, but I don't think there's a whole lot in it. Right, let's get the rad down and put the deck back on. Just going to use the identifier as a Foden to lift the deck back on. I would film it, but I'm only on my own. It's not very exciting. Dead easy job with the podgy ratchet. That's about the best product Snap-on do. And the old impact gun. Just put all the bolts back in. Nice and simple. All lines up beautifully. Well, I hope you all enjoyed the video on the CVRT Sultan. That one belongs to Witham Specialist Vehicle, and they will be doing the rest of the restoration on that. They're going to fully paint it and make it immaculate inside and out. And they also have vehicles on there that you can buy, so do check them out. I'll put a picture on the screen of their website. And moving on to other vehicles, we will be going back to do some more work on the Centurion 105 Apri, this one here. We've got a fuel tank to rip out the back, the old one that's all knackered. We're going to take that out, get one remanufactured. We're going to sort the fuel issue because one of the carburetors, one of the float bowls did the typical Centurion thing and sank. So we've got that to address, and there's many more hours that need going, but of course Jack is away and I haven't found anybody that wants to replace him at the moment. So the other job we've got to do is jack it up, take all wheels off it, all the road wheels, so they can be cleaned and needed and painted. So lots to do, and I dare say there'll be more random stuff because you know what we're like, you never know where we're coming and going on this channel. I hope you all enjoyed it, and we'll see you again in another episode.